I'm just outside the rural New South Wales town of Corowa, where the local council is in the midst of a controversial moment. Late last year, council voted to remove the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flags from its chambers and only allow welcome to countries to be conducted if they're approved by council. The mayor said council voted after overwhelming support from ratepayers, 97%, who don't identify as Indigenous. 2 years on from a failed referendum on a voice to Parliament, and First Nations people say the momentum for reconciliation is fading, and it's decisions such as these that are helping it disappear. In November last year, Mayor Cheryl Cook said the Federation Council Shire wanted to be united under one flag.
I would suggest from my research, and it's in our report, that a little over 97% of council's population do not identify as Indigenous. It's timely that we here today seek a more unified culture for all, that is our shared Aussie identity spirit.
The council voted on a draft policy to exclusively fly the Australian flag in the council chambers and remove the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander flags. It would also require a vote of council to allow traditional owners to conduct a welcome to country ceremony. Instead, council would opt for an acknowledgment of country at most functions. 5 councillors supported the proposal while 4 were against. The mayor says that most locals are proud of the town's history and that they want us to be united under the one flag, but some other councillors who voted against the move are concerned that it sends the wrong message to the first peoples who have inhabited this land for thousands of years, the Bangerang and Wiradjuri nations. One of those councillors is David Harrison, who was vocal against the proposal. He's been living in Corowa for 35 years and says he's never heard anyone have an issue with the Aboriginal or Torres Strait Islander flags.
The flags have been in council chambers for a number of years now.
Yep.
I've never heard anything negative about them ever. So it's out of the blue for me that this has come.
Hearing, Mayor Cheryl Cook talk about, there was overwhelming support from ratepayers and that there was, 97% who don't identify as Indigenous. And do you think that is an appropriate comment to make, or do you think that is something that she should be judging whether or not to have those flags flying?
I don't know where she's getting the data that says that the majority of people agree with this motion. That's yet to be brought forward. I'm well aware that this community, this shire, was one of the higher no votes in the country, so 70%, 76% no vote in here. Our local member, Susan Lay, was a strong advocate for the no vote, and the local community has gone along with that.
This isn't the first time the town has attracted media attention for the wrong reasons. In October 2024, a group of 50 masked people marched under the neo-Nazi banner through the town centre. I asked Councillor Harrison what he thought about this and what message it sent to the public.
I can't see the connection, and I really hope that there's no connection.
Yep.
But I can understand how Corowa is now being known as the place where we have 40 neo-Nazis march up and down our main street on a Saturday morning, and now we're starting to remove flags. I can understand how someone can see a cascade effect in there. I think it's up to people to stand up and say they're not connected, and we need to put a stop to this. We need to draw a line here that this is not what our community is about.
So I'm just walking down the main street of Corowa here, and I've already spoken to a few locals who didn't want to be on camera, but I'm just going to walk up to people and ask them, what their thoughts are on the Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander flag being removed from the chambers. The question is really, do you think the Aboriginal flag and Torres Strait Islander flag should be flown?
Yeah. I suppose even in today's society, it is becoming more of an awareness type of thing. It's always been there, but in terms of awareness, it's like even now, like the footy, they do all the welcome to countries and stuff, which I think it's fine. It's probably needed to be acknowledged more so now than any time.
Hi, how are you going? I'm
Doug.
Danielle.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
We're doing a story on the Aboriginal flag being
removed.
Yeah, I guess, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm curious what would actually drive that decision. Like, I feel like they need to put a bit more information out to the community as to what is driving that decision. Have they sort of, succumbed to pressure from some kind of group, or is it just something that they're trying to keep everybody happy by keeping nobody happy? So I'd be curious to find out a bit more on that.
Out of the 40 people who we spoke to in the street, most people didn't want to be recorded, and out of those who did, only one supported the council's proposal.
I think it's great. I think we've got one flag and Aboriginals fought under one flag, so I think it's a great idea, and the majority of Australia thinks so, I believe. Well, no other country has multiple flags. Why do we need multiple flags?
I wasn't sure what to expect in Corowa, being Aboriginal myself, and the town having such a rich colonial history. I spent 2 days there, speaking to locals, and I had not seen one Aboriginal flag anywhere, but instead, more Australian flags than I could count. I'm off to Shepparton today in Victoria to speak to some local Bangerang people. They say that there's a lot of their cultural heritage and identity in Corowa and the surrounding areas. They say that the removal of the flags and welcome to country creates this version of history that denies theirs. I've arrived at Bangerang Cultural Centre, which holds precious artefacts from their nation.
And then what happened is for the old people that couldn't get down the banks and that, they'd hollow that out and put water in it for them.
As a senior custodian of his country, Kevin said he should have been consulted by the Federation Council on the proposal.
But what happened is these new councils, we had no consultation. They had nothing with Indigenous people, so we wasn't aware of it until we seen it in the news and that there was a vote 5-4 against. So nothing against the Australian flag. There are people there's even Indigenous people that went to war and fought under it, right? So there's no big with us. But the thing is, they saying that one flag's for us. See, like majority of Indigenous people, or all of us, we wasn't born in Europe, England, so when they saying it represents all of us, right, that's the one section that represents people that come here and after Indigenous people. So by flying the Indigenous flag, that's saying unto them that white Australia has a black history as well. Respect's a two-way thing. They want people to respect them and their history. They got to do the same to us, and that's the way that you move forward together instead of two different groups going in different directions.
You need to, in a sense, understand that the councils that are making decisions moving away from recognising Aboriginal people, this push is really, it's an agenda that's being pushed to discredit and to take away from Aboriginal people, saying, well, this is all our country. Well, we've got nowhere to go.
Mayor Cheryl Cook said in a statement to Guardian Australia that proposed changes to the flags were driven by a desire to return to a standardised civic protocol, and that council's position was that the Australian flag served as the primary symbol of unity for all residents regardless of their background. And by focusing on the national flag in the chambers, council aims to represent the shire as a single cohesive community under one sovereign emblem. In terms of the welcome to country, she said changes were to ensure transparency and fiscal responsibility in how ratepayer funds are allocated.